Hi, I'm Jason Sellers, and this is the Access Real Estate Podcast. I'm so excited today to have a guest here, Chris Johnson. We met back in 2003, 2004, and Chris is basically an AI guru and marketing and social media and tech savant. I mean, just you got the whole gamut of tools. But really, I think about Chris, I think about him as a business person and a business leader. So really excited to talk to him about a number of topics. We will focus on AI, what's coming, and also how it kind of touches the real estate market and the real world and real estate and buildings and the whole business end of that. So with that, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah,
this is
great
awesome.
to be here.
Let's start with a little bit of tiny background. There's a lot of stuff out there, and I went and looked at some of your podcasts that you've done. You've done a bunch of them. So there's a lot out there if people want to learn more about you as a person and what you've done. I do want to talk a little bit about that, but can you give us like a snippet of like your 30-second minute path to where you are
Like
today?
the super quick version.
The super quick version, yeah.
Professionally grew up during the internet e-commerce boom of I'd say like 95 to 2000, and in that period built a ton of kind of giant e-commerce sites. In 2000, that whole world blew up. The internet bubble burst. So I started my own digital agency after that called Terra Lever, the goal of that was to do all the things that we were doing in terms of technology, but doing it specifically for CMOs and VP of sales and just bring them that technology. And then grew that through the 2000s and the 10s, and then merged that with a traditional firm. And then when through all the brain damage of merging cultures and old school and new school, that company was called Lane Terra Lever, now called LT.
Yep.
So that is now a full service integrated, largely digital first agency, about 100 people, headquartered here in Phoenix. And then in 2023, I spent an entire year learning generative AI, largely, think ChatGPT, how the agency needed to be using it, teaching it, and then we started building things by integrating with it to make the business a lot more efficient, faster, people's lives easier. And then taking those learnings, I started a whole new company called Tomorrow Today at the beginning of 24, and focused on helping companies really figure out how they should be using AI. I think there's a lot of excitement out there about, and it's not a topic that lacks hype, I would say.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of executive teams out there that are being told that can revolutionize their business, make it a lot faster, more efficient. But there's typically a pretty significant gap between that excitement and realistically what you can do with it. So we help companies bridge that gap. We teach, we consult, figure out where AI should be applied, and then we go and we build advanced softwares and integrations that deliver on that promise of speed and efficiency for them.
Yeah.
And so still involved with the agency in a chairman role, but I am now at Tomorrow Today full time and just doing the AI thing.
Right. And I think when we first met, I always thought, I mean, you were our tech guy, web guy at Terra Lever when we first started out. For one of my businesses, I was in mortgages at the time. And so basically that was like my introduction to you. But as we kind of got to know each other over time and everything, I think of you more of a business person in general. Like, I really respect that aspect of you. So my question is, do you see yourself as a business person with a tech background, or do you see yourself as a tech person that does business?
I would say at this point in my career, like I'm not coding anymore.
Yeah.
So we have teams that do that coding.
But interestingly, you have coded.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
as we were just
When I
talking
started Terra
before,
Lever, it was just me.
the Sky Mall
Oh yeah,
project.
The first e-commerce site I built was for Sky Mall.
Yeah. I mean, that's
So for our younger audience, that was a business where you flew on a plane, and there was a catalog in the back of the thing. So if you forgot to buy something for your wife or your kids, you could actually order it there. And I think it was '96. I built just me, because I was the only one in the company that knew how to do it. I built their first e-commerce site, and effectively dropped out of college for a year to
yeah, it's just
to
a
do that.
little interruption of your
little pause.
go to class today or do some
Right.
web development.
But I think if I reflect on my career, and I think what I feel like I'm good at, and have been across that career, is understanding business issues and opportunities for application of technology. So not just technology for technology's sake, but can this emerging and new technology be applied to give my clients and my customers some sort of competitive advantage?
Right.
And so e-commerce was a new sales channel, right? Or how when social media came out and at TerraLever, how can we be not just using social media as a marketing tool, but how do you integrate with a Facebook via their API to create much more interactive, engaging experiences?
And then with the merge with Lane TerraLever, it was
Yep.
Lane.
It was EB Lane and TerraLever,
Yeah.
and
And
we got
now-
really
now that's
creative.
LT,
We got
right.
creative. We called ourselves Lane TerraLever.
Well,
And now it's called LT because I just got tired of people mispronouncing Lane TerraLever. People could pronounce Lane, and they could
Yeah.
generally pronounce TerraLever, but something
When you put it
about
together.
Lane TerraLever put together, Lane, Traveler, we heard a lot of that.
and in your mind, was that a merger between like old school marketing or? I mean, old school. What is old school marketing anymore?
Like
I don't even
traditional,
know.
like
Traditional.
think like television, PR,
Right.
but also like conceptual creatives. Like digital agencies typically would build websites. Like TerraLever, we would build beautiful websites that were very usable, that could deliver results, and then we would literally hand it over to our client and say, all right, like what do you want to put in here? Like we weren't writing copy, we didn't have like the kind of big overarching creative idea. So when we put these two companies together, it was literally we had zero overlap.
Yeah.
Right. I think EB Lane at the time, they were doing websites, but really they were just outsourcing those to companies like us. And we didn't do conceptual creative. We didn't do traditional media buying. We didn't do PR. We didn't do any of those things. So when we came together, there was no overlap.
Right.
And it was just a matter of figuring out like, how do we now deliver in a way that's actually integrated, not two companies side by side.
And I think from what we talk about tomorrow today, it's like it sounds like it's the same circle, right? It sounds like it's the same. Let's just like TerraLever to Lane was. You said there's no overlap,
Yeah.
but there's kind of doing in the same sphere.
Right. Marketing. Yeah.
And now tomorrow today, now this is also you mentioned there's no overlap really
Right.
with that.
Yep.
But it is kind of in the same sphere, a little bit.
I mean,
Or do you- or do
we're
you think
involving technology, but at Tomorrow Today, we're I'd say maybe 10% of the stuff we're doing has to do with marketing. It's 90% is legal, finance, operations, that kind of work for our clients.
Do you think that that's more foundational then, for across most businesses have that kind of need?
Yeah, I think every business has that need. Yeah,
Right.
I think the next couple of years there's a significant opportunity, but also a significant threat if you don't start figuring out how you're going to use AI in your business.
So let's talk about pain because people love pain for a second. When you say there's a threat, what do you think people think of as a threat, or what do you think the real threat is to not getting on board with AI?
Yeah, I mean the threat. Thomson Reuters did a study. They released it last summer, and they went and talked to thousands of professionals that were using AI. And long story short, their conclusion was that that at the end of 24, professionals who were using AI were going to save 200 hours a year. So there's 2,000 hours at 40 hours a week in a year. So 10% of their time they're saving. But then they said the next year, 25, it's going to be 400 hours. And then the next year, 26, it's going to be 600 hours. So if you imagine your business and imagine a competitor who has their teams using AI and they're building automations with AI, and they're 30% more efficient than you are, and they're going to be a lot faster than you are, you're going to get to a point where you can't compete. And that's the reality of it. And the good news is that as much hype as there's been around AI, every company we talk to is at square one. And they understand the prioritization they need to put into AI to get there.
Yeah.
But at some point, your competitor is going to be doing this. And when I started working with LT and figuring it out there, it was like, well, this is coming, so let's just figure out how to do it faster and better than everybody else.
How does that compare to maybe other like tech bubbles or tech revolutions that we've seen in terms of feeling like you've got to get on board, and that kind of, I don't know, fear of missing out, or like just that idea that I got to get going on this.
Yeah.
And the timing of it is now. And if I miss the next 6 months, like I'm going to be really behind versus
Yeah.
if maybe I'll do it next year or in a couple years. Like,
Yeah.
what year?
I think that's kind of last year. A lot of the companies we talked to, like they were curious and interested,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a priority. But we're seeing a pretty big shift this year of
Well, and
companies
when
making
you
it.
talk about like the returns that you get, it's like investing, right?
Yeah.
You start this year, you're going to save 200 hours.
Yep.
Next year, it's going to be 400 hours. Well, by the time you've invested and you're 10 years into it, you're going to be so much farther in that 10th year than somebody who doesn't start
Without a doubt. Yeah.
till now. So,
And then when you talk about building things, everything has a really clear ROI. Marketing doesn't
okay.
always, right? Marketing has a proposed ROI, but until you do the creative, put it out in the market, we all feel pretty good about it, but you still don't really know.
Is
But
that
when it comes to AI, you can look at an AI system that you're going to build, and you know exactly how much you're going to save before you build it, and then you implement it. And typically, we're seeing full ROI within 6 months.
Right. And is that, from a business standpoint, is that because most of the support and most of the AI is on the expense side of your balance sheet versus the income side? Like,
Yeah.
marketing is like bringing in new revenue
Yeah.
and bringing that, and
Yeah.
AI is like you're able to control costs, you're able to find efficiencies, and you're able to
Yeah.
do things over.
Yeah, a lot of our
always
customers,
done.
they want to figure out, they're growing, but they want to figure out how they can scale without increasing their operational costs. So how do we just take things that our people work on that are more administrative or just clerical in nature? How do we automate those or give people tools to do that a lot faster so that we can grow top line by 20%, but keep our our expense line consistent so that we actually make more profit?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that more work is needed, or that people will lose jobs? Or to phrase it a different way, like you keep your staff that you have, and now you're just able to do more work. And moving forward, does that work increase exponentially with AI as a tool?
Yes.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
weird question. Maybe I'm not stating it exactly right, but it's like we have a X number of things we have to do, and if we bring in AI, we'll be more efficient. That's easy concept.
Right.
But now, are we thinking our job is not just going to be X; it's going to be X squared? Like the amount
Yeah.
of work that we have to do.
The amount you can accomplish
Yeah.
will increase. The amount of work will likely stay the same. It's just going to be different work, right? So, and a lot of times, people within a company actually enjoy their jobs more because the stuff that AI is doing, they didn't like doing in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. Summarizing meetings. These are like really simple use cases. Summarizing meetings, writing an email summary of a whole chain, taking information from 3 spreadsheets and consolidating it into one. These are all things that we've been doing for so long that you don't need to do anymore because AI can do that. And generally what people like doing is they like collaborating, talking to customers, being more strategic, being more creative. So if you can free people up from the stuff that's kind of more rote and menial in nature and free their time up to go do the things that they're using their brains a little bit more, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a lot more engaging work. Generally, you can have happier employees who are doing the same amount of work. It's just the work is now different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's shift into some of the clients that you're seeing and some of the needs that are coming out of your new venture.
Yeah.
Into, you mentioned you got some commercial projects, like commercial agencies that are talking to you about what they're, and so part of this concept is, all right, well, real estate is land and the built environment, and
Yep.
that's kind of as low tech as you can get at a foundational level. Right?
Sure.
It's a building. It's
Yeah.
2x4s and concrete.
Yep.
And then you've got this AI component, and the companies that are talking to you are selling real estate, or they're involved in the real estate. And so how does the AI component, or what kind of questions are they asking and that you're able to answer for them?
I mean, the questions they ask are just how can we do this faster? How can we do it cheaper? And that's the consulting side of what we do is we're in there learning their business, and we say, this is a good opportunity for the use of AI. One that we found, we're doing quite a bit of work in commercial real estate, is a concept of lease. It's called lease abstraction. So let's just say you own a shopping center and there's 90 tenants in the shopping center. And each tenant has a set of lease documents and certificates and amendments. And the way it's always been done is you get a lawyer to read through that entire document and pull out language and classify it. So what did we agree to in this lease in terms of exclusivity for what it is they do? What is our right to renovate and rebuild? What can the tenant do with signs, right? And so they pull all that language out and then they put that into a system so that when they're trying to lease another property in there, they can look across all the leases a lot more easily. Like it might be in Salesforce or HubSpot or some other system. So they can look through and say, all right, well, a coffee shop wants to come in here. Do we have any exclusivity restrictions for coffee shops? So that process takes a long time. It's expensive because it uses attorneys. We've built systems that you just drop those documents in, and AI goes through those, pulls out, categorizes all the language, and can do it in a minute, rather than 3 to 4 weeks for a whole set.
So how is that different, just from a layman's term? Like for me using ChatGPT to take this document and upload that into ChatGPT as a PDF and just say, hey, what are the terms in here? Can I do this? It would be able to answer that pretty quickly off of one PDF. But you're talking about like stacking that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So that's a great example. And anybody can take any legal document and put it into any of these systems. Some are better than others. I like to say that if your document's more than like 10 pages, there's a different model. It's called a reasoning model. So ChatGPT has an O3 model that'll actually analyze that a lot more in depth and be more accurate on a big document. But yeah, so that's available to anyone today on a one-off basis. But to consistently categorize things and go through longer documents and get to a good result, we had to build a system that would do that, where you could just drop a lot of documents into it and it processes it.
And when people say they're training AI or they're training the bot or whatever, what does training consist of, or what does that look like?
When people say that, most of the time they're wrong.
Okay.
It's just kind of what people call it. Usually when someone says they're training AI, really what they're doing is they're giving AI a lot of information, documents, data, and they're writing a prompt with that information so that it behaves in the way that you want it to and does the things that you want to do. Training is an actual AI technical term, which is actually taking a model and effectively creating a new model. And I'd say almost 99.9% of companies aren't doing that right now. So it's a lot more about how do I feed it documents and information, and then how can AI, the large language model in this case, use those documents and information to provide some amount of intelligence in a tool that I'm using it for.
Right.
Yeah.
And Tomorrow Today would specialize in the specificity of the individual or the type of business that they're doing to help navigate that and give them the right direction and kind of oversight.
Yeah. I mean, we've done work for a company that makes like refrigerated trucks all around the country, and they have technicians all around the country, but they have no centralized support. So when a technician walks up to this truck and hasn't worked on that before, and there's a problem with it, they have to basically pull up the manual, and it can be 100 pages, go through it and find the thing they need to find to help them diagnose what's wrong, and then walk them through how to fix it. So we built actually a voice interface that's backed up, so not trained, but it's just backed up by all these manuals, so they can just talk to it, say, hey, I'm working on this type of unit, and this is the problem I'm having. Can you help me with this? And then it uses that knowledge that it has, that we've given it, to actually give the technician that information, but does it in voice, so they can just talk with it. It can walk them through step by step of what they have to do as they're working on it.
And then they just have to follow the steps.
Just follow the steps.
Yeah.
Ask questions. But so we do a lot of that with things like process documentation. We've been working in construction, so people that are out in the field, HR policies. There's a lot of opportunity just to take documents that you have and then basically put an AI front end on those to more quickly be able to get information and ask questions about all that information.
Yeah. And when you talk about these type of tools that are coming about, obviously the landscape is changing pretty quickly.
really quickly.
What do you think today about, like, what's on your mind about where tomorrow today is going to be tomorrow? Like, not tomorrow, but like a year from now or 2 years from now. Do you have things that you think about that you're like, I don't even know what that question's going to be, but I know we need to be thinking about this part of it.
Yeah, the pace of innovation in this space feels like it's increasing every month.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at what's come out this year or what's come out in the last month, it's incredible. And so it really is hard to say where we're going to be in a year. We look at it a lot of kind of this next generation of what we're seeing in AI. It's going to be a lot about agents.
Mm-hmm.
So not real estate agents, but AI agents that actually go out in the world and do things for you. And we're seeing early ones right now. OpenAI has deep research.
Mm-hmm.
Google has their own flavor of it. DeepSeek was a Chinese model that came out earlier this year that does that same thing. But what they do is they go out and you give them what you give it a task of what you want, and it will go out and search the internet for you repeatedly until it finds the information it needs to actually do that task. And it could take 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So that's an agent because it goes out and does that. But OpenAI has another agent called Operator. An Operator, you can have it go to websites and take actions for you. So a really simple example is you could just prompt Operator to say, hey, like our favorite sushi restaurant's across the pond. So I go, hey, can you create a reservation for 2 people at the bar across the pond next Friday at 7 p.m. And it spins up a browser. You can watch it, and you can actually watch it. It searches for across the pond. It finds the result. It goes to the site, finds the reservation link, and it's just clicking around, opens up OpenTable, and makes the reservation for you. So that's an agent because it's going out and doing things for you. So what we're going to start to see is more and more of these agents that become specialized to do things that you want to do. So we know that's coming. How quickly, we'll see.
What was it called? Because there were tools, been around for a while, that you open up your web browser and you hit a record button. It's a macro, right?
Yep.
And you could just do, it sounds like a macro.
Yeah, it's robotic process automation.
Except
RPA.
It's like,
yeah,
it's intelligently making up its macro based on a certain amount of information it already has.
Yeah, that's not what this does.
Yeah.
This pulls up a website and it visually analyzes it, and it starts to, it actually, you can watch it kind of click around. It's learning the interface real time. So you can go to, it can go to any website.
Yeah.
And if your website's not very usable, it's not going to be very good because it doesn't know how to interpret it just like we wouldn't. But if it's a good usable website, and most websites that we're dealing with today are, it learns the interface really quickly, and then actually goes and takes the action. I mean, we're doing things like Salesforce, LinkedIn, and a lot of platforms, and just giving it instructions. It's kind of slow, but what do you care? You're not doing it. Right? It might take 30 minutes to complete the task, but you can just tell it to go do it, close the browser, come back, see what happened.
Do you think that that's a different way of running your life? Like, that's a different way of thinking. It's a different way. I feel like sometimes I've grown up in a world where I do the thing, right? And so my whole world is around me executing those things. And to transition, it sounds like a lot of your growth process and growing through things where you become like, when you were working at that first company, you were talking about, all of a sudden you have 350 people reporting to you.
Right.
And you're now in charge of those type of people. So I think a lot of people don't have that experience where they have that kind of resource at their hands. But now every individual is going to have something similar where they could just like bark out orders.
Yeah.
And so it's a different shift of, I'm thinking about all the orders that we can accomplish in a day versus me doing things.
Yeah, I was talking to the local tech startup that I think is going to be really successful. They're not out yet, but it looks like a really successful concept that they're already going nationwide. There's 5 people on the team, and they don't expect to hire anybody because they're leveraging AI for a lot of what they do natively, because this company started last year, so they've had all this kind of baked in, and so they don't expect they could conceivably be $100 million company, and I'm sure they're going to add some people along the way, but let's just say they could be $100 million company with 20 people. And so that's the world that we live in today is either you're starting a company up that natively uses AI, or you're figuring out the reality of your current company and how you have to restructure how work gets done so that you're going to compete with maybe one of these companies that's just starting.
Right. And I think one of the fear overall is that these type of things will be taking away jobs.
Yeah.
But I think I'm still trying to like word that question the right way, but it's like the amount of work that's going to need to be done in the future is more than it is now. It'll
Yeah,
just be done differently, and the people will be allocated to do like that that group of 5 people doing their work.
Yeah.
They'll be able to scale huge
Right.
with leveraging AI, but their work is also going to grow. The amount of work that the company needs to do.
Yeah, but a lot of that work's being automated.
Yeah.
Right. So they're just in their business, they're automating workflows from the beginning. So nobody ever did that work is the way to think about it. Mm-hmm. And that scales infinitely. Right. So it doesn't matter if they have 5 customers or 5,000 customers. If it's automated, it's not creating more work for people in there. And that's how they're going to be able to accomplish it. I mean, the reality is long term, humans aren't going to do work.
Yeah.
I can't tell you when that's going to be. It's not this year, right? It's not next year. Right. But we are in for some interesting times as humanity in that we've all just grown up, and society has kind of put a lot of value in what you do for work and humans getting self-worth out of work.
Sure.
But the reality is on a long enough timeline, that work won't be there.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be just a historic shift for us all.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
To say the least, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the companies that you talk to, it sounds like they have large visions about how they can use the AI tools. They seem like they're larger scaling companies. I think about real estate and trying to bring this back a little bit to like what we do on a daily basis. Real estate agents, I always think about them, individual businesses. It's like, it's an individual.
Yeah.
And so what kind of tools can a real estate agent be thinking about using to leverage the AI?
I mean, the tools right now, there's so much you could be doing with just a large language model like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. We had the contract example, right?
Yep.
Look through a contract and then actually edit that contract, have it edit the contract for you, right? There's a lot of opportunities in marketing in how you're creating social media content, how you're going to market, how you're creating information about a listing. There's a lot of opportunity in just using the tools we have now to be able to, as an individual, do easily, I would think, twice the amount of work as you're able to do today, without hiring anybody, right? And then I think what you're going to start to see is you'll start seeing software become available to you. That
somebody else did it. They used this.
They
figured
understand,
it out, and now they're going to say, okay, you can subscribe to.
Yeah, just $20 a month, pay for this service, but it's focused on real estate.
Yeah.
Not just really generically, these general models that are kind of, you can do anything with, right? Tools that are built in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like we could, today, if we wanted to, we could create a tool that does lease abstraction for commercial real estate and then have people pay for a service. It's a very specialized thing we created for a specialized industry. You're going to see a lot more of that coming out.
I saw something where the model was a group of professionals answering questions to create the data that the AI can use. So right now, let's say we take all the real estate agents in Phoenix, and we ask it a question about a disclosure item or something, right?
Yeah.
And they just give their answers, but in giving their answers, it helps build the responses so it becomes more of a community response, an accepted, maybe standard of professional practice type of response.
Yeah.
That is now what AI uses versus just going online and searching the existing data. And so companies like that, or is that kind of what you're talking about, where people figure out how to use it and leverage it?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying.
I mean, using real people to gather the information.
Yes, that can be really useful. I think the way the tools are built today, you wouldn't need to get the information from those people because it's on the internet already. Unless something has just drastically changed in the industry and you need to get updated information on it, the information about disclosures is in the model, and then also by using something like deep research with their O3 model that OpenAI has, it's available to everybody. You could just say, give me this. It'll go out to the internet and find the best examples of that and give you a really good answer. But if you want like a different example would be at Tomorrow Today, we record every meeting that we have with our clients. And then we get those transcripts. And then built into that transcript is the intelligence from that meeting. And then we can use that as our source to then figure out what the next steps are, what we want to do. So we don't take notes anymore. Some people like taking notes because it helps remember things. We have engaging conversations, and then we take the transcript and then we analyze that with AI to pull out what it is that we need to do what we're going to go do. And that's something agents could do, right? You could just record your conversations with clients, take that transcript, and understand what was important to them in that conversation, and then create an email that's going back to them saying, "Hey, these are the things that we're going to focus on for your property," right? That could be done really, really quickly with today's AI. You could just, even iPhone, you just record it, and it gives you the transcript, and then put that into a ChatGPT and have it create what you want to create. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds extremely useful.
All right, we'll do it today.
All right. Tomorrow, today.
That's right.
One of the aspects that I wanted to get to is this concept of trust, and I think this is it's a loaded question, and there's I think of it in two factors. One is the trust of the data that you're getting back, right? The process, and I think most people have used ChatGPT at some point, and my experience is it doesn't always give me the same answer. Like sometimes it doesn't scale, so I tested out on. I did upload a PDF and said find this information, and it gave me some. Then I was like, okay, well, let me load up 30 pages of the same thing.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like it tried to figure out a different way to do 30 pages than it did 2 pages.
Yeah, it was probably writing code and using OCR. Yeah.
And it gave me the wrong, like, it was like, this is not what you just gave me 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So there's a trust factor of like, am I getting the information that I want?
Yep.
And so that's one. I'd love to get your opinion on that. And then secondary is who's building the model, and do we actually trust? I mean, forget the information that's coming back to us, but is the original information that's out there, do we trust that? Do we trust the company that's generating it? And I think this falls more into like maybe the political spectrum of like who controls the AI, who controls these things, and do we as humans, like you said, we're not working in the future.
Right.
Do we trust the entity that originally created that process? So start with
Jason, that was a lot.
Yeah, I know. we got like 2 minutes left. No. But let's start with the first one of
let's start with the first of like how can you trust what it's giving you?
Yeah.
And the answer is you shouldn't. Sorry. These models have what are called hallucinations, meaning it might create something and it might make something up. And I would tell you 2 years ago, you really had to watch out for it. With the advancements and now starting to pull information from the internet, it's really good at dealing, when you give it information, it's really good at dealing with that, and you can generally trust what it's going to do with it. But it used to be, if you were just asking it a question about the universe or the world, it may not have the right answer, but it'd be pretty sure it was right. So we always say it's trust but verify. And these models are advancing so quickly that they're getting better at this. So that you have a very, very low hallucination rate today. With models like their O3 reasoning model, again, it's available to everybody, try it out. In deep research, you put that together. It's very, very good and very accurate. But you still need to look at how it did its work and what it did to make sure that it's what you wanted. So we have not built a system yet that fully automates something without a human in the loop to look at what it's doing, because it's just not there yet. But today is the worst version of AI you'll ever use, right?
That's a good way to put it.
So it's just getting better and better and better. So that's not an excuse to not be using it. It's just you need to use your brain to actually look critically at what it's creating and making sure that it's accurate and it's what you wanted. And that's the world that we live in today. Someday it'll be really, really good. I think it is really, really good, but it'll be perfect, right?
Right.
To your question about how do we trust the people that are making these things, it's a good one. I mean, how much do you trust OpenAI? How much do you trust Google? A lot of these companies started with, like OpenAI is, I think they're still currently a nonprofit, right? They started off as a research lab, a nonprofit research lab, with the goal of creating safe AI. So AI that can't be used for ill intent, AI that's not going to go off the rails and ruin the world. But there's such a fervor now of investment that's going into this. AI is starting to back off that kind of safety message. Elon Musk certainly has with Grok. I think probably Anthropic's probably with Claude is probably the one that's really most committed to it from what I can see. But whether you trust them or not, it's happening, right? And they're advancing quickly, and they're all trying to get to the same place, which is AGI, which is basically a super intelligence. It's the goal of creating an AI that is smarter and more capable than every human on the planet. And once they get there, they're now king of the hill.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And now they can rapidly advance from there because they have that tool. And geopolitically, the same thing is happening. The U.S. wants to have it. They don't want China to have it.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that are happening and kind of limiting China's access to processors and GPUs to be able to do this because the country that figures this out geopolitically is going to have a significant advantage.
Does this feel like what Microsoft did when they started in terms of being, it's better to be first to the market with not as good of a product than it is to be second to the market? I think about, I mean, a lot of people maybe don't know the reference, but like Apple and Microsoft competing, and Microsoft was like, they just came out.
Yeah.
Right. And they weren't as sophisticated of a tool yet, but they were first there. And so they had that big advantage. Whereas Apple feels like they were more refined in their approach and they took a little bit more time. And
Apple's with AI, Apple certainly is, and it's not very good. But
yeah,
I think they're all on the move fast and break things path right now.
Yeah. And that can be a dangerous path a little bit.
It can be, yeah. But they're all in it. They're all just trying to go as fast as they can, right? Building giant data centers so that they have more processing power to be able to advance quicker and build bigger models. They're all going at it as fast as they can, and they're iterating on it, and they're sometimes releasing things that aren't great. Sometimes they release things that are amazing, and you don't even understand how they work.
What's the thing that excites you the most about AI?
Personally, me, I love new tech, and I love learning, and I love figuring out how to use that to our advantage and to our clients' advantage. So while the pace is very quick, I really love like seeing something new come out and then figuring out based on what's that new thing, how could we actually be applying that? Because tech is tech, but unless you figure out what you're going to do with it, tech's not very useful. So what I love is that this is such a rapidly evolving space. Like I'm constantly learning, and sometimes it's hard because it's a lot. But I love that pace. That's just much more kind of to my roots. Realistic. I mean, more than like the agency space is the agency space, and we did a lot of great things there, and they continue to do great things there. But it's largely the same things for different clients, right? And personalized for them. You know, this stuff is like something new came out that never existed before. What does it actually mean? What could we use this for? Like think like Operator, right? The where it goes to websites. Like how do we build systems that operate in the background and then go take actions for companies? Think of you have a company that has a website that you have to go log into their website to create an order or to check on something. Well, if you could automate that, and now somebody doesn't have to go log into that website ever again, what does that do for that business? Well, that technology didn't exist 3 months ago, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Now it does. What does that mean for a business, and how can they take advantage of it? Like, I love that stuff.
So just the process component of just learning and applying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big. I mean, like you said, technology is useless unless you are using it for something.
Right. Yeah.
So what can we use it for? Do you think that we talk about businesses and that, do you think this comes into the personal world more, or they're just like individuals using all of this technology? How do you visualize it touching the individual or maybe the family component? Like, how would your family use and be better off
Well,
5 years from now?
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine most kids are using it in school.
Yeah.
Well, not in school, but maybe out of school, right? It's not like most of the personal stuff is I'm seeing is like writing emails. A number of people have said, "Oh, I had to go, speak at a wedding, and so I had to write my speech for me." It's like stuff like this. It's not like revolutionary, but it's interesting. I think what you're going to start to see is much more personalized AI to you, that is tied to you, that knows you, that then can go do things for you, and then it's going to become really useful for us in our personal lives, right? Of almost like everyone's just going to have like their own personal assistant. Like, imagine Siri, but good, right? Siri that can actually go do things for you, not just remind you of something tomorrow,
grocery list.
right? Or make right. Yeah, imagine just being able to tell Siri, but it's not Siri right now, but tell Siri like, hey, make a menu for me for next week. You know what I like, and go ahead and order all those groceries and have them delivered on Monday.
Yeah,
and it would just happen. That's the kind of stuff that
Saturday morning got a lot easier.
We're actually not that far away from that, which is crazy. It's not there right now. Like, we could probably build that. I mean, I won't, but for just me. But yeah, like, it's in kind of what you're seeing right now. And I think it was actually the chief product officer or chief experience officer for Amazon in an interview said that right now AI is being applied for efficiency everywhere. Right? How do I do this faster, cheaper, better?
Right.
Because there's so much opportunity. Right? We just went through the 10%, 30, 20%, 30%. There's just a ton of opportunity just to be applying the stuff right now. But we're going to have a shift inside companies where they're going to start looking towards innovation. And that's when us as consumers of technology are going to start seeing a lot of really, really cool stuff.
Do you have any tidbits or little technology product that you think would be?
I mean, I think you're going to start seeing companies that already supply things to you that can now do that in a more automated and personalized way.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of an example.
But I like the idea that when you said like an AI model that knows you.
Yeah.
Like, and then, I mean, I go to these like philosophical type of questions where it's like, okay, well, is it the right answer or is it the answer you want to hear?
Oh, like AI is your best friend, and
like,
or your counselor, or what that is.
I mean, when does it become like, well, I know what you like to do.
Yeah.
So, and even though that's not a good choice for you,
yeah,
you like to do that. So I'm going to give you the answer so you can live your best life.
Yeah. We're talking like hookers and coke. Like,
I mean,
where are you going with this?
Could be. I don't know. Like, does it end up that spiral? Like, what is AI used for? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
we will see.
Oh, we're gonna see.
And it'll probably happen faster than anybody.
It's gonna happen way faster than everyone thinks. Yeah. On the pace that I'm seeing, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, if you would 2 years ago, I'm like, eventually it's gonna be really cool, and now I'm looking at this year going, like, the end of this year is gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we covered a lot there, and I think we're kind of wrapping up a little bit. But I did want to ask you, what are you working on now? What do you want people to know that you're doing that, like, what is your next thing? Tomorrow Today is your current company that you're,
Yeah.
I mean, you are in that, you mentioned it's a startup. So
Yeah.
you're in the startup mode of that.
Yeah.
What do you got going on now that would be helpful to your growth and moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, last year was the first year of the startup, and it was a lot about learning, right? Learning like what kind of consulting works, what are our models, learning how to kind of building architectures so we can build things that are reliable, consistent for our customers. And now this is the year of us scaling. So, the most helpful thing to us is companies that are, typically like if you have like at least 50 to 100 employees, there's a lot that we can help out with.
Yeah.
And so we love talking to companies that are that size or larger, and we love like just introducing them to what's possible. So we offer like a free executive briefing for just executive teams to help bridge that gap from excitement and intrigue and what AI is to what it actually means for their business. And I love I've done over 100 of those in the last year.
Yeah.
And I love doing them because I get to see the lights come on. They finally, when they see it work, they see it live in front of them doing things. They can't even believe it. I just love showing people that. And then that leads to interesting conversations about like, all right, well, how are we actually going to apply it in this business? And what should you be doing with it? And that's the work that we do. So
do you find people that you talk to are unaware of what the possibilities are, or are they like visualizing something and you have to tell them like, no, like actually that's a little too crazy. Like AI can't do that.
We never thought to say AI can't do it. We just say it can't do it today. Because maybe I haven't been on X or Twitter today to check out what crazy shit they released today. But no, typically it's they don't know what's possible.
Yeah.
Right. They don't know what can be done. And that's our job, right? Our job is to understand their business and then figure out like where's the best place to apply this. Like where do we start? That most companies that we talk to don't have some grand vision of AI right now. No.
So just 50 to 100 employees, company, mid-size company that is like curious about like how can.
Yeah, I mean we're working for billion-dollar companies too, but we're finding a lot of opportunity in kind of mid-size companies, range 100 to 500 employees that they have the scale that you can build a system that works across that scale, so you can get almost immediate ROI as soon as you release it. That's where a lot of those opportunities are. Yeah.
So if we wanted to check back with you about the innovations that have happened, should we reschedule another one of these for like next month,
next
or
week,
like tomorrow, or like...
probably like 6 months.
Yeah.
It'll be substantial in about 6 months. But if we had done this literally 2 months ago, we would be talking about completely different stuff.
That's crazy.
We wouldn't be talking about these advanced reasoning models or operator or agents. All that stuff's come out in the last 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining me today and kind of going over all this. I find it extremely fascinating. I know our life is going to change. I think the world is changing quickly, and I feel like at the forefront of like at your finger on the pulse of what's going on there. So
that's my
thanks
job.
for sharing.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by. It was awesome to get to catch up with you again.
Yeah, it's been great chatting.
And we'll leave it there. So thanks for joining us at the Axis Real Estate Podcast. If you want to learn more about Tomorrow Today, Chris Johnson, check him out. We'll put a link for that. And if you have any questions about real estate, I'd love to talk to you about it.